David Njoku has been such a success story for the Cleveland Browns. And he has just made a complete turnaround from what he was in terms of his attitude, in terms of his skill set, and in terms of his passion and being a professional in the city of Cleveland. When he first came out of the University of Miami, he was a guy who, was a young kid, very raw. We knew he was athletic. He used to high jump, and he looks like a specimen. He's built like a power lifter. He's built like an X-Fit type guy. He's a dude that got the abs that everybody my size want. Everybody want that body. Paul, that was crazy, Bush. I can't pause. I can't even. Needless to say, you know what I'm talking about. But David Njoku, we talked about him on the show. He's one of those guys who's put the city on Cleveland on his back. He don't take no mess. He stands on what he stands on. He's going back and forth with Michael Parsons. He's going back and forth with people like, I'm not taking no shorts. I ain't taking no losses. We ain't sneak this and none of that. I'm calling all that out. And so David Njoku is just a dude that is all about the city, for the city, and he was built and became the person he is by the city. Take a look at this clip, courtesy of the Cleveland Browns University Hospitals. They go behind the scenes with a little bit of all access with David Njoku and how he really is an infectious leader on the Cleveland Browns and what he means to this team. Check it out.
Come on, go right. You see him. He's trying to get low. He wants to sit there and jab all day. Oh, take away his jab. See if he tried to do it.
Very energetic, very funny. He definitely brings the energy to the team. He brings the energy to the tight end room. He's a great guy, all-around guy. He's definitely funny and goofy.
Get his ass.
David is a social butterfly who's got a great sense of humor.
We're lifting at 9:30 as a team. Special teams at 11, team meeting at 11:30.
Gotta sleep in a little bit, huh?
No.
Kev, you wanna try it? Kick. Call me when we're ready.
Don't be fooled when you catch him in those reserve moments because he has a ton of energy. He's really great with people.
Man, I'm a really big fan of that Unleashed series. Make sure you check that out as well. This time it is on, David Njoku. Another time they had it, they go all behind access scenes with the new rookies, and Mike Hall Jr., Zach Zinner. They did that. Jerry Jeudy was on Unleashed earlier this year. So really like that. I'm a big fan of showing behind the scenes and showing the players' personality, how they are on and off the field. Really gives you a little insight into who they are as people. So I'm really a big fan of that. Shout out to the Browns and UH, courtesy of them. When you look at David Njoku, and I think there's two forms of evolution, right? And a lot of times when we talk about, whether a player is good or whether a player is bad, whether a player is productive or a player isn't worth the money, as a player has high upside, that untapped potential that you don't see, or is he overrated? A lot of it has to do with system and fit. There's a lot that has to do with system and fit, because you got to look at it from a standpoint of, if you're going to have a guy like David Njoku, are you using him the best way possible? We really hadn't seen David Njoku be a guy who was trending in the right direction until really, Joe Flacco kind of unlocked him. The Browns started doing a lot of protection and leaking out late. So David Njoku would just pass protect, because we didn't have defensive, we didn't have really great offensive tackles with DeJuan Jones, Conklin, and Jet Wills being out. We had guys that are just off the street. So what we had to do, especially with quarterbacks like, PJ Walker and the DTRs and Joe Flacco's, we needed to keep those guys protected. So a lot of times they were keeping David in to block and then late release into the flats. And what they found was David Njoku in space is devastating. I mean, the defensive backs can't tackle him. And so you would get plays where it would be just a simple release in the flat late after the quarterback checks it down, and he catch the ball in with 5 yards, and he'll turn that 5 yard into 16, 30, 20, 50, Like he's able to do that. He has sneakily deceiving speed because he's really a big guy, long legs, has a really nice stride. So he doesn't look like he's moving that fast. And for some of them DBs, they just can't tackle him. And so we found out that part of his game, and we were like, wow, listen, this is something that's bringing new to the table. But we would have never found that out if it wasn't for the fact there was a necessity for him to have to block. So sometimes it's all about fit in terms of whether you're going to be prosperous or you're not going to be prosperous, whether you're going to be productive or you're not. And that has a lot to do with your coaching philosophy, has a lot to do with the other pieces and parts on the team, and also has to do with what your team does. What's your bread and butter? And, you know, back in the day, the Browns so far have been a power running team that runs play action. That's not conducive to catching, 96 balls for 100 or 96 catches for 1,300 yards at the tight end position for the Browns. You're going to have to block. If you're going to play Kevin Stefanski's offense prior to now, where Dorsey looks like he's going to throw the ball a little more, you got to become a better blocker. And one thing that I think that Chief did was he dedicated himself to getting on the field by becoming a great blocker. I think he's one of the better blocking tight ends in the league when it comes to run blocking and pass blocking. And then as the time went on, he became more and more comfortable with catching the football. Early on in his career, he had a lot of drops, senseless drops. He would make a spectacular catch, but then he would just drop a ball that was right in his hands. Concentration stuff. But I think now he's put the whole total package together. He's put it together with the run blocking, pass blocking, as well as catching. And this year, I think you're going to have some choice routes for him. We're counting on him to be able to, understand and know what the name is, where everybody is at. We're counting on him to know where the void in the zones is. We're counting on him to do a lot of different things. So when you talk about David Njoku and you talk about what his process is and progress is, his progress has come because he's been matured, right? He's understanding how to be a professional. He's understanding that what type of energy and type of effort that you need to put in to making sure that you're going to be on these fields and staying on the field. So I was all for David Njoku when they gave him that extension, because I've always been under the thought process that is not necessarily about what David Njoku was doing before. It's about what you project him to be in that offense. And if it was not for David Njoku and what he was able to do, there's somebody like Jerry Jeudy who would never got the contract that he got. The Jerry Jeudy deal is based predicate and solely on the success of a David Njoku. So, you could give Jerry Jeudy an extension when people think he hasn't really reached his ceiling yet, because you're betting on the fact that what you're going to do is going to change them and put them in a different direction. You ever seen somebody, it happens all the time with married couples, right? There's an influence on each other. And sometimes when you're in a really good relationship and you're married to the right person, they're going to make you look a little different than you was when you was in a prior relationship. They're going to clean you up a little bit. You might have better clothes. She may encourage you to wear cologne, may encourage you not to be wearing baggy clothes, encourage you to lose weight, encourage you to step forward and go find another job that you love, that is in your one of your passions, to pursue your passion rather than just a job. So, she married you because she saw the potential in you, not what you was a finished product. So that's always a great thing. And I could tell, you can always tell when somebody is really in a good space, because Njoku is, when you hear him talk, he's all about the city. He don't let nobody really talk down on the city. He's a guy that's a unwritten captain, and I think he's one of the most beloved guys in the locker room. And the Browns are going to utilize him even more this year. There's an article out there, check it out. David Njoku talks about how the hip drag tackle being outlawed is really going to help him out, because now you can't even drag him down by his waist. So he's in the process of losing some weight. He's always played between 250 and 270. The last couple of years, he's been playing closer to 270. Him and his trainer and his people in his camp want him to get down to 250. So now he can be faster. And he says speed is the name of the game, because you definitely want to catch the ball and be able to move on guys and become more of a threat when it comes to running past people. So it shows that he's already trying to do something to evolve his game as well. And I think that when you got a David Njoku, Jerry Jeudy, Amari Cooper, and Elijah Moore, not to mention Jamari Thrash, Cedric Tillman, David Bell, I think you got enough. at those positions that you can really find something to hang your hat on, especially in the throwing game. And I think this is one of the better skill groups that the Browns have ever had, considering what they were in the past. So, definitely looking forward to David Njoku, what he's going to do. And that just goes to show you, don't give up on people too early. There's always a level of maturation that could happen. And David Njoku is proof in the pudding.